Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be reading only new releases for 24 hours. So the other day I actually went to Barnes & Noble and I picked up two of my most anticipated new releases, but there are also other new releases on Kindle Unlimited that we're gonna read. And so I kind of decided to start this little series on my channel because there are new releases, like a group of them that come out every few months that come out around the same time, that I thought it would be fun if we just dedicated a whole video to reading them together. And what's more fun than reading them in 24 hours? So the new releases that I have on my mind for this specific video is first In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams, which is the fourth and final book of the When in Rome, the Rome, Kentucky series. In all the books we follow a group of 4 siblings. This is the 4th siblings book, my most anticipated book of the entire series. I am so excited to read this book and I have high hopes for this one, but I also haven't been in too big of a romance mood, so I'm not expecting a super high rating, but I am very excited for this book and it's gonna feel so nice to complete this series. And next I have The Storm by Rachel Hawkins. She's one of those authors that I've read 2 of her books, rated both of them 5 stars, but I have heard nobody talk about her, and so I am just so excited for her new release. She's one of those authors where now she's an auto-buy author because I rated 2 of her books 5 stars, and so I'm very excited to get to this one. It's like a short sort of thriller. I think it's under 300 pages, but she just mixes the fiction genre so well with thriller. Like it's like a general fiction with a thrilling element underneath, and I just freaking love her book so much. And then I know that freida McFadden just came out with another book called Dear Debbie, and I'm honestly more excited for this new release than I have been for a lot of her other recent new releases in the past couple years. So very excited about this one. And these two plus freida McFadden's new book are my like priority books, but assuming that we'll have more time after I finish these 3. Feeney has a new book coming out, or I think it did just come out, and then I know that if I looked on GoodReads and Kindle Unlimited, I'm sure I could find several other new releases from authors that I love, or just new ones that I want to try out that just came out. So I'm just so excited, and I am not going to start it right this second, but whenever it's time to start the timer I will come back to you. And I'm not doing it from like a 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. period. I'm not doing it in a 24-hour period. I'm like starting a timer and stopping it every time so that I can make sure I'm actually reading for 24 hours rather than just in a 24-hour period. So I am so excited for this video, so let's get into it. I have only read the first chapter, but I want to give a little update. This is like probably the book that I've been looking forward to the most ever since starting the series. The first 2 books I rated 5 stars. Third book, I like, for some reason I couldn't connect to the characters at all. I wasn't really crazy about them or their stories. I think I rated it like 3 stars, but this one, I have been looking forward to this couple's story, their book, for the entire series. I cannot wait to read their story. Literally, he's been like pining over her for such a long time, and there's been like little hints of that throughout the other books, and I'm so excited to finally get here. And so we're finally following the 3rd sister, who is the 2nd oldest. I need to look up their family dynamic again because I kind of like forgot like the order of like the ages of these siblings, because there's 4 of them, and that's why there's 4 books. Each book follows a different sibling, and there's 3 sisters, 1 brother. And our female main character in this book, Madison, she currently lives in New York. She like decided to follow the path of culinary school. I think that's what it was. It was like went to school to be a chef, but now she's like realizing that that's not the path for her, but like she refuses to go home. She can't tell her family that it's like the wrong path. I think she tried to in the 3rd book, but then Emily, her sister, like kind of convinced her to like just stick it through because she thinks that she would have regretted it if she just quit like halfway through. But she hates it but like she doesn't want to go home and like admit defeat when all of her other siblings are in relationships and they kind of have their lives together. So now we're following her. She's like just like low-key losing it. Like she's like on the brink of a panic attack, I feel like. And I just read the first chapter, and at the very end we got our first glimpse of our male main character James. I'm just so excited. I cannot wait to see them together, and I want to keep reading this next chapter because now we're going to actually get our first real glimpse of the two of them together. And this is dual POV, just like all of these books are, so I'm just really excited. The thing I'm most excited for is their romance, which like duh, it's a romance book, but like I don't necessarily like care too much about what she's dealing with right now. I'm just so excited to see this couple like finally get together. So let's keep reading. I think I'm like 20 minutes in, 30 minutes. We're 22 minutes in. So anyways, let's keep reading In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams. This is so cute. Just like this one first conversation that they're having over the phone. Oh my gosh. And like I honestly like I forget their dynamic in the other books. All I remember is that like he's been like pining over her for like a long time and like she has no idea. But their first conversation, I'm like actually giggling, like oh my god. I am currently 3.5 hours into this challenge and I am almost halfway through this book. I think I'm like 40 pages away from the halfway point, and that's like a long time, right? Like I feel like I'm like taking a long time to get through this, but I am just absolutely loving it so far. Like I told you guys, this is the book that I've been anticipating since the start of the series, just because of the way this specific couple has been talked about so much, and just I'm like giggling just like thinking about them. Basically, like I mentioned it before that she is not loving like the culinary school path that she's taken, but that's not true because like we learned more. I read more than just the first chapter, and she is very, very passionate about being a chef. It's just the city that she hated, and now she's like in like a kind of a rut with it, and basically she needs to just get out of her rut with it. And so basically the first time that they have their interaction in this book, she calls him, she didn't intend to call him, she meant to call her sister's boyfriend named Jack, and his name is James, so it was like an accidental call sort of situation. But their first interaction, literally I was literally giggling out loud. That's the thing about Sarah Adams writing. Her books are just so funny too. Like they're not just romance, they're literally rom-coms. Like they're so funny too. So anyways, she is on the phone with him and he offers her this job position to be a chef on his farm, because he's opening a restaurant on his farm, as he says, but he's not actually opening a restaurant on his farm. He just kind of says that because, like I said, he's kind of been in love with her for years and years, and so he makes up this excuse because he wants her to be happy, and he can tell over the phone that she's very, very not happy. She's kind of stuck, and she's like just in just a life rut. And so he makes up this lie, and basically now he has to like build his restaurant, and he does. And now she goes back to Rome, Kentucky, which is the small town that all of these books take place in. And now I'm at the point where they're about to start working at the restaurant. I think they have like a week to like get all the designs and everything in order before they can actually like move forward with it. And then I don't know when the restaurant actually opens, but I'm assuming that now it's 62 days until then, possibly, because each new day or each new chapter that starts a new day for in Madison's POV, it has like a countdown. And so this one specifically says 62 days until I fail, but I think it started at 101 days and now we're at 62. So I don't know if maybe that's the restaurant opening or something. I don't know, we'll see. But she deals with anxiety, and so we're getting a lot of that so far, and I really, really love that representation in it, because it's like I feel like I'm reading about myself, and so maybe that's why I'm enjoying this a lot too. Not just the romance, even though the romance is so good. The romance is so good. I love these characters together. And then he's also dealing with some things on the side too, and oh my gosh, we're like seeing the other characters from the past books all come together, and in each book we see like all 4 girls kind of hang out together and like have these like girls nights, and that's like one of my favorite things about these books. They're so funny together, and just like I love seeing them all together, especially now that we've had all 4 of their books. Now we know them so well, and then now there's 4 guys that are like together, they hang out too, and so it's just like it's so fun to see. I am just loving this so much, so I'm gonna keep reading. I would like to finish this tonight, but I may be a little optimistic. I have something like early in the morning, so I can't necessarily like stay up. Like I was thinking, I was like I could just like stay up all night and like finish this book, but I do have something at 10:30 tomorrow, which isn't like that early, but I don't want to like be waking up at 10 to leave at 10:15. So it's 8:06 now. I don't know, we're gonna see if I can finish this tonight. If not, we'll get super close to finishing it. So I'll see you guys in a little bit once I have another update for you guys. But so far I am just loving this book. My gosh, you guys, I'm literally, I feel like, oh, I feel so giddy. Like I could be like kicking my feet and giggling right now just reading this book. Oh my gosh, they just had their first kiss. Oh, I'm not even that far into this book, and they just had their first kiss. I'm like 52% into this book. I'm far into this book. Oh my god, I can't. I'm actually loving this book. I am loving this book. Okay, so I have finished In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams. I genuinely love this book so much. I think that the couple was so perfect. Just, it's so obvious that these two people, these two characters are meant to be together. I loved all of the little cameos of the past characters from the other books in the series, and when all of them hang out, it's actually so heartwarming. And honestly, these books, this whole series just feels like a warm hug. I feel like there's so much love within all of these characters, and you can really feel it through Sarah Adams' writing. And I have not been in a romance mood at all recently. Like, my books that I've read have had to have been like literary contemporary fictions with a subplot of romance, but this one, obviously, it's a full-blown rom-com, and I absolutely loved it. I also just feel like it wrapped up the series so beautifully. It made me laugh. I was freaking laughing out loud, and I was just like giggling. I was so giddy because of this book. And Sarah Adams, she wrapped up this series beautifully, and I was so upset when I had to close this book and I realized that it was over. And it wasn't like too dramatic of an ending either. Like, it kind of felt like if she wanted to, she could have done a more dramatic ending, but it almost felt like the way that the Friends season 10 ended. It was like where they all walked out of the apartment and they went to go get coffee, and so you knew that now all of the characters were in the places where they needed to be emotionally, in relationships, whatever. We knew that they all got to the place where they needed to be, besides Joey. We don't talk about that enough. Where was Joey's happy ending? Anyways, this is not a Friends review. And so with this, it's like they were all hanging out at the end of it, and we had one big wrap-up scene where basically throughout all of the book, Amelia, who was the female main character in the first Rome book, in When in Rome, she made pancakes and they were like really bad, and so in all of the other books she makes the pancakes again, and the entire group as like a whole, they like know to like pretend to like them, but they're like actually horrible. And at the end of this, she finally got the recipe right, and literally so unimportant to the plot, so unimportant to the plot of this book, but like just like as someone who loves the series, it was so heartwarming. And then they all just left the bar, and now all 4 of these siblings are in relationships. They're happy, they're finally where they're meant to be career-wise. Everything was just wrapped up so beautifully, and I just absolutely loved this. And so I did actually start book 2 last night after work. I was so exhausted, so I didn't read much of it, but I just wanted to start it, and I needed a book that didn't take much brain power, and so I decided to start Dear Debbie by Freida McFadden. And we are now 8 hours and 48 minutes into this challenge, so I didn't read too much. I'm 16% in through Dear Debbie right now, and it says that I have 5 hours and 10 minutes left of the book, but it keeps adjusting itself, so I'm not too sure. But based on first impressions, this may be one of the last books that I read of Freida McFadden. And it's so sad to say that, because like I've always relied on her books as like good like palette cleansers, and they're just really fun, entertaining, quick and easy reads, and I still may use them if I'm in a reading slump and I need just a quick book just to like get me out of that. But I don't think I'm gonna be reading any more of her book otherwise, besides after this one, just because the writing is not phenomenal at all. I feel like everything is just told so matter-of-factly, and like literally the writing is just so simple. Like I can't even describe it other than like it's so simple, and it feels so repetitive from her other books. Like yeah, the plots are different and the storylines, the characters are different, but at the end of the day they all feel like the same character, just explaining different things. Like there's no real differential tones within the characters, if that makes sense. But I don't know, I'm gonna try to appreciate this book as it is and understand the plot and everything, and just treat this as like my last Freida McFadden book that I'm gonna read for a while and just really appreciate it. Literally I'm 16% in, and I don't know much about what the plot is going to be, but we're following both her POV, but we're also getting some of Cooper's POV. Like I think by chapter, I can't remember what chapter it was, I think it was chapter 5, we had already switched to Cooper's POV, which is her husband. And basically they have 2 teenage daughters. One is 17 and one is 15, I believe, and the 17-year-old is like in that phase where she like hates her mom. But it's like, I feel like it's very dramatic in the way that Freida McFadden wrote it, and it just seems like, I don't know, I mean, I don't know, it could be realistic. I wasn't like that with my parents, so I don't know if that's like actually how teenagers at 17 work. I feel like maybe it's a little younger than it usually happens, but I don't know, it could be realistic in that sense. But basically Debbie, all that we know about Debbie so far is that she writes this like column sort of where she gives advice to women based on what they're going through, like with their husbands or their life at home. And it's like our first chapter actually, and we've gotten another one since then, they're like little excerpts where it'll be like Dear Debbie, and then the woman will write her complaint, and then Debbie will write back, and it'll be like good advice at first, and then it turns like dark. And it's like there was one this woman wrote where she was complaining about her husband doesn't let her choose the music in the car, and then Debbie wrote back, she was like, well, you know what, like why don't you make a hit playlist of artists that you both love, so then you can play that and see if you guys like that, you know, compromise. And then she went on to say, and if that doesn't work, like basically make him go deaf. Like she described like putting something in his ear while he's sleeping and like actually like making him go deaf. And so we've gotten like little hints of her dark side so far. But then also the whole beginning of the book was her waiting for this photographer to come to her house to take photos of her garden for some home garden magazine, and then it ends up going to her neighbor who she competes with to have like the best garden. I don't know, it's not, I don't know. I feel like also she didn't set up this book to be so interesting in the beginning. Like usually I feel like when I'm reading her books, at least it's like fast paced and I like kind of enjoy what the main character is dealing with or like going through from the beginning. But with this, it's like I don't really care that your photographer never showed up and that your neighbor stole that magazine article from you. Like I don't really care. I just know that eventually she's gonna start like taking her own advice and probably going after her husband or like whatever. I don't know where this is going. I'm 16% through, so we're gonna keep reading this and try to just knock this out quickly. Her books usually fly by really quickly, and usually like if it was a book like this I would DNF it, but like I'm waiting for more plot to happen, and like the 16% went by so quickly that like I'm not worried about wasting my time. I know this book is gonna go by really quickly, so I just want to like hit the main plot points and like actually figure out what this book is about, and then we can decide if I'm going to continue it or not. me in for a much needed update because I am now 83% through Dear Debbie. And the reason I haven't updated you guys is because honestly, I don't have anything really to share. I think that the audiobook literally saved this for me, and I went on Libby and it was available now to listen to as an audiobook, so I didn't even have to use any of my Spotify hours, so we're taking that as a win. But I mean, literally, I don't really like the main character. I don't like any of the characters. We're actually following 3 different POVs, which is really interesting, like right off the bat, because I feel like in most of her books it's like you'll go halfway through the book reading one POV and then the next 50% will be another POV, but with this we're reading 3 different POVs right from the start, so that's interesting, I guess. I mean, there have been like multiple times where I've been like, what? Like, are you for real? Like, what? Like, I've been like a little shocked by things that have been happening, but like essentially our female main character has so many people doing her wrong in her life, or her husband or her kids' lives, and so she's like taking revenge on these people who are doing her and her loved ones wrong. But I have this theory. I am now 83%, like I said, and I think around like the 70% mark I made a theory, but I could be wrong. Like, I could totally be wrong, and I can't say it here because it would be a spoiler, but if I'm right, then yeah, this book is getting like 2 stars. It'll probably get 2 stars anyways. We found out why she does these things, and it's because someone really wronged her in the past when she was in college, and so now she's like, she gets revenge on anyone who wrongs her because she didn't back then. I will say, when we finally find out what happened to her, I don't remember where it was. It was after the 50% mark, like 60 maybe, somewhere around there. Just be warned, please, to look up trigger warnings. I will say that it is a sexual assault situation that happens, and if you are sensitive to that, please just beware. Maybe look up what chapter it's described in, because it didn't necessarily get too graphic with the actual description of what happened, but it still made me uncomfortable. If you're sensitive to that like I am, just like beware, because I didn't look up trigger warnings before reading this book, and maybe I probably should have, but it was just, you know, it was a little much and just like random for this book, but whatever. So I do have a theory, and we're gonna see if I'm right. This says an hour and 19 minutes, but I listened to it at 2x speed, so I don't know if it's half of the an hour and 19 minutes or if it already calculated that in. So we're gonna finish listening to it. I don't know what I'm gonna do while I listen to it. Maybe clean my room. It needs a little like deep cleaning, so we'll probably do that. And I'm sorry for like not updating you guys. Oh, also another thing, while I was listening to this book, I keep forgetting to press play on the timer, because since I'm listening to it in my head, I'm like not actually reading, so like I forget to start the timer. And so I have it right now at 11.5 hours, so I'm gonna like, I think that that's correct, because then once I stopped reading, I realized that I didn't start the timer, and so then I would like try to just play it for a little bit and then just like try to add up the time that I missed. So I think that this is what we're supposed to be at, but I'm gonna remember to actually click it this time while we finish it. So anyways, let's finish Dear Debbie so then we can move on to our next new release. Wait, what? What? Okay, I just finished Dear Debbie by Freida McFadden. My theory wasn't necessarily correct, but it was like almost correct. Like, I almost had it, but like it was different, and I was really shocked by the plot twist. I guess that gives it some bonus points, honestly. I will save my rating for the end of this video, just because I'm saving In Your Dreams rating for the end of this video. I think, yeah, if I'm in a reading slump or something, I will go back to her books, but I feel myself gravitating more towards the, I don't know, better writing, I guess. I don't know, that sounds so like harsh, but I mean, she puts out like 3 books a year, and I think it's just starting to show a little bit. It's sort of, the writing is sort of starting to reflect that, the fact that you're putting out 3 books a year. That's just so insane. I don't even know how she can do that, but I think that this was one of my least favorite Freida McFadden books. I don't know, they all just feel so repetitive. Even though they're different storylines, they just are starting to feel so repetitive at this point, because all of the main characters feel the exact same. None of them have like their own voice releases, I feel like, and I'm just kind of over the whole thing. The plot twist did get me, and I kind of like the idea, the fact that she went through something like so traumatic when she was in college, and so she kind of made a vow ever since then to never let anyone wrong her again, because she let that person originally get away with it. And I like that idea of it. I think that, you know, powerful women are my favorite types of characters to read about, but I don't know, I'm kind of just over it. So we're done with that one, and we're only halfway through this video. We're only halfway through this video, and I've been filming this for like literally like a week now, like almost an entire week I've been filming this video. So we are 12 hours and 9 minutes into this video, which means that we have 11 hours and 51 minutes left. So our next book that I'm so excited to start is The Storm by Rachel Hawkins. So like I said, I have read 2 of her books in the past, and I rated both of them 5 stars, which is pretty crazy. And I just think that her books are so unique. They're almost like a historical fiction thriller. Who wouldn't want to read that, honestly? So I'm going to go ahead and take this cover off. Whoa, it's like all just beige. Ooh, I don't know what I was expecting, but I really like this book, and it's relatively short. So honestly, we're gonna have to read a whole nother book, I think, after this. So I need to start hunting for what that book is going to be, because I don't have any other new releases, so we're gonna have to figure that out. But for now, we're gonna start The Storm by Rachel Hawkins, and I am so excited. I don't know much about this. I know that it follows 2 separate timelines. One's a past timeline where this hurricane happened at this hotel, I believe, and this woman is framed for killing her lover during the hurricane. And then in the present timeline, a true crime writer comes back to the hotel to write about the incident that happened in the past, but he brings the woman who was originally accused of killing her lover in the past, and we're following those 2 timelines. One happens in 1984 and one happens in the present, and I just think that this is going to be so interesting and fun. So let's get reading. Okay, so I'm about 40% through The Storm right now, and so it starts where we're getting like email threads between Lo Bailey and August, and Lo Bailey is the woman who was accused of murdering her lover back in 1984 during a hurricane, and August is emailing her because he wants to write a memoir about what happened, and that he wants to write it together. So we're following like a POV that's like that manuscript, like we're getting little glimpses of that manuscript, and then the other timeline, which is like I'd say the primary point of view, the primary timeline that we're getting is the present timeline, and we're following Jen, who's the innkeeper at the Rosalie Inn, I believe that's how you say it, and this inn is where the alleged murder happened back in 1984. But even though those are our 2 primary timelines, we're also getting glimpses of other timelines mixed in there as well, because we're essentially following different hurricanes throughout history that happened at this inn, all leading up to the big one, so that we can find out the actual mystery and what actually happened during the hurricane, to find out if Lo Bailey was actually responsible for the death of her lover at the time. And it was never able to be confirmed because they never found a murder weapon, but like it was like he was bashed over the head, and so it wasn't necessarily something that like the Storm could have done. But since there's no murder weapon, she wasn't able to like actually get convicted, but everyone thinks that she's guilty otherwise, but she's convinced that she's not, so we're convinced that she's not. And so now August and Lo Bailey are staying at the inn that Jen works at, and so she's kind of getting close to them, and we're just learning a lot about everything that's going on, because Jen's mom was actually best friends with Lo, so they're all just like connected, and we're just learning about what happened like slowly, gradually, that led up to the big murder. And we're gonna see if she actually did it or not. I literally have no idea, but I am absolutely loving this book so much. I have read so much today. I think I've read like over 100 pages today. I am just loving this so much, and honestly I might finish it tonight or tomorrow morning, because I cannot put this book down. I'm just so invested, and I absolutely love just the idea of this book and the writing. I need to read all the rest of her books. There's 2 other books that she has out, I'm pretty sure, that I haven't read yet. I need to read them because they're just so good. So let's keep reading. I will update you guys once I get a little further. So we've gone through 3 hurricanes, I believe, and now we're at the one, Hurricane Marie, where the murder happened, and we're getting it from Lo's point of view, and it's like her written manuscript sort of, so it's like current. It's like what she's currently writing, but she's like telling the story of what happened. So it's like her point of view, but as of like a 60-year-old woman, not when she was 19 when it happened. So I think this book is so interesting. But now in the present day, there's another hurricane coming, Hurricane Lizzie, and it's just the 3 of them in the inn, and I feel like even though it stayed standing through all of those hurricanes in the past, I feel like this is the one. I feel like it might not go so well, and things are starting to like be revealed within the 3 of them, and then like I just said, like we're finally learning what happened back during the murder, or we're gonna find out if it was a murder or not. I don't know. There's so many like secrets. There's been so many secrets like uncovered, and just honestly so much drama, and just so many things that have come to light over these past few chapters, and I'm just like baffled. I'm baffled, but I cannot wait to find out what is going on. I have finished The Storm by Rachel Hawkins, and as you guys know, I absolutely loved this book. I just think that it is such an interesting concept, and just the whole storyline was just so intriguing and captivating, and just nothing like I've ever read before. And I loved like the hurricanes themselves were just like this underlying character within themselves, because they were just so unpredictable, and just like this haunting element throughout, not even just like the past timelines, but like the present too, since there did end up being one in the present timeline as well. So I really enjoyed this. I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite book that I've read from hers, but I cannot wait to read more of her books, because seriously, I just absolutely love the stories that she crafts, and such great material, honestly. So we are still only 18 hours in. We still have just under 6 hours left. So if I'm being so honest, before I started filming this video, I really thought that these 3 books would take up the entirety of the 24 hours. So we are left with having to scour the internet, scour GoodReads, scour literally whatever, Kindle Unlimited, everything, for another new release to read, because I don't have any others. I didn't buy any more because I thought that these 3 would fill up the entire time. So I was going through Kindle Unlimited, and I did find like some that like seemed relatively interesting through Kindle Unlimited, but none that I've ever like heard of. They're just like random ones that I had found. So there's one that I like thought could be fun, could be interesting, and it's called The Epicenter of Forever, and I don't know, it just seems like a heavier sort of romance book. And then there's another one called Soft Launch that also seems interesting. So I don't know. I haven't really decided, but then also I could listen to Alice Feeney's new release, which I had originally thought would be on Kindle Unlimited because I think all of her other books are, but since it's new, it's not yet on Kindle Unlimited, which is very sad because I was going to choose this one. But we may just listen to it as an audiobook, since I have like all my Spotify hours. Maybe we'll just listen to, it's called My Husband's Wife, I'm pretty sure. So maybe we'll listen to that. I don't know. Once we decide, I will fill you guys in, but for right now, I don't know yet. I don't know what we're gonna read next, but I'm leaning more towards My Husband's Wife, just because we can listen to it, and I have some like laundry to put away and just like things that I need to do, so it's a possibility that might be the way we go. So right off the bat with My Husband's Wife, I was hooked immediately after chapter 1, because in chapter 1 we're following the POV of a woman named Eden, and she's on her run, and we're getting like inner monologue. We're learning all about her family and her life, and by the end of the chapter she shows up to her house and her key doesn't work in the front door, and so she knocks on the door, and this woman comes to the door, and she looks exactly like Eden, and she's wearing her dress, arrest, and her husband then comes to the door once he realizes there's like an issue, and he has no idea who she is. And that's like, I think that's what the synopsis says on the like the back of the book, and that's all I'm going to tell you. We are following now multiple POVs because we were following Eden's POV and this other woman named Birdie, but then throughout the story, as the story has progressed, we've added on more POVs, and if I'm being so honest, I am a little confused. And it's like weird because like I feel like I haven't missed anything. Like I feel like I've been very locked in, and I haven't missed anything. Like I could tell you like everything that's happened, I could give you all the details. It's just like I think I'm confused, like with the lady and the Eden. Like I don't know who is who. Like we keep talking about Eden, but I'm like, okay, are we talking about the Eden whose POV we were getting, or are we talking about Eden who was the other woman? Like I literally don't understand. Like I feel a little confused, and I'm very far into the book now, and so it's just like am I ever gonna get the clarification that I'm looking for? I don't know, but I am really enjoying it. I've been listening to like the whole thing, obviously, because I don't have it on Kindle Unlimited or Libby or anything, so I've just been listening to it, and I really like the audiobook too, because it doesn't necessarily say that it's an enhanced audiobook on Spotify, but we are getting like noises and stuff. Like we heard waves and knocking on doors, and when she's running we heard her like out of breath, like we heard her panting, and I'm trying to think what else. Oh, and every time there's like a police interview, because now there's like a murder investigation, or a body was found, so it's like a murder slash just trying to figure out what's happening sort of investigation. Every time there's like an interview with the police officer and someone that they're interviewing, we get like a little bit like of a tape recording sound audio effect, which is really interesting too. And so I'm really enjoying the audiobook version of it. It's just the fact that I'm a little confused, and some things happen where I'm like, did I miss something? But I don't think I did. I think I'm just confused, which maybe it's my fault. I don't know, but I am very much enjoying it. And we are 21 hours in, 21 hours and 46 minutes into this challenge, and the audiobook has 2 hours and 20 minutes left, so that should be enough. Yeah, that should definitely be enough. And if not, we're not gonna think about if it's not, because I don't know what I would read if it's not enough, but we're just gonna assume that it will be. So I'm actually gonna listen to a little bit more. I do have to go to sleep soon because I have to wake up super early, but I have to put some laundry away because I never did that before. Also, when I'm getting ready for work tomorrow, I'll be able to listen to it then, so I'll probably finish it either tonight or tomorrow morning. Okay, so yesterday morning I finished My Husband's Wife, and there were some plot twists like thrown in throughout the book, and then there were like, I'd say 2 big ones towards the end, and I was like shocked by them. But if I'm being honest, I feel like I wasn't too invested in the story, and I don't know if it's because I listened to it. Even though I really enjoyed the audiobook, I feel like I don't know, it's not a story that's gonna stick with me, and it wasn't one where I was like itching to finish or itching to reach the plot twist because I was like so invested in it. And I read Rock Paper Scissors I think about the same time last year, and I think I rated this 4.5 stars. I absolutely loved this book. I think that it was so good, and so I think I went in with high expectations because I was expecting another rock paper scissors situation where I'd be just absolutely obsessed with it, but I just wasn't, and I think that's okay. I think it was a really entertaining and great thriller, and I would recommend it, but it's not one that's gonna stick with me, I don't think. Everything that I needed clearing up definitely got cleared up, and it got cleared up like as soon as like I talked to you guys about being confused. After I listened to it a little bit, it like got cleared up like pretty soon after that, but just not one that's gonna stick with me. So with that being said, we have finished our 24-hour readathon. I actually finished My Husband's Wife with 55 minutes left on the timer, and I was like, no, I can't, I literally cannot read anymore for this video, just because I have to start reading for another reading vlog, and we wouldn't even be able to finish a book. We would probably get like 50 pages into a book, so we're calling it quits. I need to give you guys all my ratings and reviews. So first we read In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams, and I actually ended up rating this 5 stars, which I was so not expecting. I rated the first 2 books, or I rated When in Rome 4.5 stars, Practice Makes Perfect 5 stars, and then Beg, Borrow, or Steal 3 stars. So honestly, I was expecting this to fall more in like the 3-star range because of my rating for Beg, Borrow, or Steal, but I think I read this at the perfect time. I think I was just such in the mood for it, and I think I just absolutely adore this couple, and I was really anticipating their book, so I think that this was just like so perfect for me in every way, and I'm just so happy that this book came out and it did what it needed to do. And honestly, I was so upset closing this book, like reading that last chapter and closing this book, knowing that there are no more books coming out with these characters in them. It is so sad, but I would highly recommend this whole series. It's a 4-book series following 4 siblings, and they're just so much fun. They're so funny, they're so endearing, and I would highly recommend not just this book, but all 4 of them. And then we picked up Dear Debbie by Freida McFadden, and I ended up rating this 2 stars. I kind of like predicted that like with you guys, but it was entertaining as an audiobook. I just feel like the direction that it went and the reason for why she did things, it just, I don't know, it bothered me a little bit, and I guess it could be realistic for some people, but I just know that as someone who's gone through something similar to what our main character went through, I'm just not like that. Like, I'm not now seeking revenge on anyone who hurts me, if that makes sense, but I guess it could be realistic for other people. I don't know. Just look up trigger warnings before you read this book, because it did take a turn that made me very uncomfortable. So just make sure you look up trigger warnings, because I didn't. My fault. Totally my fault. And then I went and picked up The Storm by Rachel Hawkins, and I actually just bought another one of her books. I think I got The Heiress. I think that's what it was. And honestly, like, I don't think this is my favorite book of hers. I ended up rating this 4 stars, but I think that this premise, just like the plot and everything, was so fascinating. And when I say plot, it's not really like a plot. You're literally just following these characters through years of their lives, and I really loved the generational element to it, where we're following all these different hurricanes, but it's always like the same group of characters or their mothers who are dealing with the storm or whatever. So it's very like a generational story, and I think that's so fascinating, and I would really like to read more books like that, where we're seeing like multiple people in the same family, just like through different years. I really love that aspect of this. Honestly, love this book so much, would highly recommend all of her books. And then lastly, I just gave you guys my thoughts on My Husband's Wife, so I won't go too much into detail, but I will tell you that I ended up rating it 3 stars. Again, such an entertaining audiobook, just not a story that's necessarily gonna stick with me, and not one that like I was too obsessed with. So I honestly had so much fun filming this video and just being able to read my anticipated new releases for 24 hours. I'm gonna do this like whenever there's like a group of new releases that I'm so excited for. Like, I know there's 3 coming out in May that I just am so excited for. I think it's like Carly Fortune, Annabelle Monaghan, and I don't know, I think there's one more, but I am just so excited. So I think we'll do that, and then with any like other remaining new releases that I can think of. So if you like this video, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of this little series that I'm starting. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys so soon. Bye guys.